Troy, are you ready
Two little
to
trips
go?
here.
Yeah. Okay, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Green Lake Township Planning Commission for February 27th, 2024 at Golden Fellowship Hall on 9700 Riley Road in Interlochen. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What you're looking for.
Exactly right. Okay, roll call. Pat McDonald. Here. Ed Wilson.
Here.
Clint Cleveland.
Here.
Colin Schwarm here. Richard Park. Here. Bradley Dean.
Here.
And did you get anything from John Schuster? Absent. Approval of the agenda. Any additions, changes, suggestions? Anything anybody like to add to that? Seeing no comment, would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I would recommend.
Second.
Second by Pat. Second by Pat. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. First public comment. At this time, anyone wishing to comment may do so. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped one. Sorry. There we go. I was going to speed through it. Approval of the minutes from the January 23rd meeting. Does anybody have any changes, exemptions, additions? You good with that? Are you good? Yeah. Somebody like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as they were presented?
I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Motion made by Clint. We have a second.
We'll second the motion.
Seconded by Ed. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries to approve the minutes as they were presented from the January 23rd meeting. Okay. Now, we'll go to first public comment. At this time, anyone in the public may express their views. Please try to refrain your comments to 3 minutes. If you'd like to speak, you may raise your hand, and then when you can come up to the podium and state your name and address. Would anybody like to comment at this time? Okay. No public comment at this time. Conflict of interest. Does anybody feel that they have a conflict of interest in tonight's proceedings? Anything on the agenda? If you do, please say so now. Okay. No correspondence. I don't think we have anything external to add to it. Old business, new. Don't have any of that either. New business. Okay. SUP 24-001. A public hearing to receive and discuss public comment for consideration given relative to a request for a special use located at 11541 US Highway 31, Interlochen, Michigan, and owned by Ryan Matuzak. The applicant is requesting a special use for a 32 by 32 storage building with an exception for a detailed site plan. At this time, is Mr. Matuzak? Okay.
I'm Dante Mercurio. I'm here in place for Ryan Matuzak in regards on the 32 by 32 storage barn. It'd be a cold storage barn used to store our work materials.
Are you authorized to answer questions if somebody has a question?
If I can,
Does anybody have a question?
I can call Ryan if I have to.
Is there ongoing business there already?
Yeah.
Is that involved with fishing? So
Where are you currently storing everything?
There's a pole barn there now, but it's very full.
You've been storing stuff outside in temporary, so will you be getting rid of all external, outside storage if you build the new building?
I don't know much of that detail, to be honest.
Is there going to be an office in the building?
There is, in the current building, there is an office, but
No,
not the new.
not in the current one.
No,
the
no,
new
no
one.
office, no office.
Okay. I thought I saw something in the notes.
There was a plan, I thought. It's on that plan. In the back. Kind of shows there being a little ups and everything. Something in the back, but, yeah. Anybody else have any questions? Does staff have any comments to add?
You've got the report.
I don't know if you want to verbalize anything.
As far as I understand, there was no proposed outdoor storage to this permanent building is replaced the canvas building that is to the south of the primary building. It is for cold storage only.
Okay. You don't have any comments, sir?
No, sir.
Anybody else have any questions before we open the public hearing portion? Okay. Well, at this time then, we will open the public hearing portion of SUP 24-001. Anyone wishing to comment may raise their hand and we will hear your comments. Oh, public opening at 6:07. Anybody like to comment? Okay, seeing that we have no public comment on SUP 24-001, we will close the public hearing portion of SUP 24-001 and move to discussion. All right, anybody on board have any discussion they'd like to put forth about the proposal?
Is there a motion?
There's no motion yet, we've just moved to discussion.
Oh,
If you'd like to make a motion, you may do so.
I didn't have any questions. I thought everything looked pretty straight up, straightforward.
Somebody like to make a motion?
I would recommend approval of SUP 24-001 as presented in our packet.
Okay, motion to approve, is there a second?
are you gonna let them off on the detailed site plan? They want a break on having to do this.
Yeah, you'll have to include that in your motion.
Well, I would restate the motion as approval for SUP 24-001 as presented in our packet, and exception for a detailed site plan.
A second.
Motion by Rick and and seconded by Pat. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Approval granted. Thank you. Moving on to SPA 24-001, a request to receive and discuss consideration for off-street parking spaces located at 2720 J. Maddy Parkway, Interlaken, Michigan, and the owner is Ruth Allen. The applicant is requesting that the Planning Commission reduce the required number of off-street parking spaces off-street parking spaces to use the property for an optometry clinic with an exception for a detailed site plan. So, everyone familiar with the property we're talking about? Yep. If you like, state your name and address and...
I'm Ruth Allen, 2720 J. Maddy Parkway. I purchased the property in September from Sue Schroeder and her family, who had been there for a long time. So and this is Steve, he's going to be doing the optometry if possible, so, and the optometrist is coming here today too. Oh, is he here? Sitting right next to you. I'm sorry. I'm not used to public speaking, so if I fumble, I'm going to fumble a lot. It's just going to happen. So anyway, so you already kind of measured it out there. We're just looking to see, if we can have a reconsideration since, it's been a business for 104 years. And so, but the zoning is not, what it was back then. So it's a small lot, but it has, I talked to Steve Berry with the Road Commission. He said he approved it to be used, the parking spaces as historically used. But, like I said, it's, according to the zoning, it's shy a space or two. So we're just hoping that it can get approved, and we think this will be a great thing for the community. Initially, when I bought the building, I wanted to make it into a cafe, breakfast only, but realized that it's, parking was an issue, and the septic was too small. So then I went and looked for a business and advertised, and went with Steve because he lives very close. He's born and raised here and has had a, did you want to speak at all? I don't know if you need to, but anyways, I thought it would be a good thing for the community. So do you have any questions or do you need more information?
Do you want a reduction from 7 down to 2?
No. Oh, yes. Okay. I mean, more than 2 cars can fit in the front, but I know it's historic. Okay.
You have,
So there's on-street parking that's been used in the back, and that's where because there's an apartment up above, that's where I live, a 1-bedroom apartment. So you can park back there, and people historically have parked back there, employees can park back there. And Steve Berry from the Road Commission said that you can use the off-street parking as long as you don't park overnight.
you have 2 on-street spaces?
There's 2 off-street parking spaces.
Two.
The rest historically have been on the street.
No, that's why I assumed.
Anybody else? have any questions? Pat?
You have a police officer that lives right behind you,
Yes.
so we keep an eye on things.
Yeah, and he uses the street to park his cruiser on, so he parks on the street too.
Anybody else have any questions? No. Do you have any comments you'd like to add to that? Okay. Has anybody got any further discussion? Somebody like to make a motion to that?
I'm really familiar with that property. It used to be the chamber office,
Yes.
and there's more than 2 spots of parking. Maybe that's official of 2, but we've packed way more than that in there unofficially. And surveys have shown this is the kind of business that the community's asking for.
Are we just talking about it today, or are we taking action?
We make a motion, we can take action. I mean, if somebody wants to make a motion, we can be taking action.
I would make a motion to accept the petition, I guess, for the exception for the required parking and
Detailed site
a
plan.
detailed site plan, yes.
So that we're only requiring 2 on-site parking spots. Is that in there somewhere?
I'll state it.
Well, yeah, I guess that was my assumption, but yes, I would make the motion for just requiring the 2 as an exception.
Exception to the detailed.
With an exception for the detailed site plan.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Clint, and we have a second by Pat. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Thank you.
Great, thank you so much.
Miss Allen, I'd like to compliment you for all of the work you did. It made reading and going through the material much easier. Nice job.
And welcome to our community.
That's a great use for the building.
Yeah, at least to help me along.
Perfect. All right. That being approved, we will move on to SPA 24-002, a request to receive and discuss consideration for a small shed near the water's edge located at 5772 Lakeview Drive, Interlochen, Michigan, and owned by Green Lake LLC. The applicant is requesting that the Planning Commission allow a small 198 square foot shed near the water's edge with an exception for a medium site plan. So, at this time,
Good evening. I'm Jason Vanderpoort with Archer Contracting. I'm the designated agent for Green Lake LLC at 5772 Lakeview for Joey Latterman and Patty Latterman. Currently, there resides a 106 square foot hexagonal shed there presently. It's been there for well over 50 years. It's falling apart. It needs attention. It's kind of beyond repairs. Rodents are getting in. So what we're requesting is that we take that and turn it into a more traditional shape, a rectangle shape, which would increase the square footage to 198. Currently, they store kayaks, boats, motors, life jackets, dock supplies. It resides down there. There's a bluff behind it. I don't know if you've been out there or not, but it's quite a substantial bluff to carry things up and down. So looking at 4.26, the water protection, B, it says recognizing the need for structures located in the waterfront. There's some things permitted. Number 3 talks about having a high steep embankment with a medium site plan review from the Planning Commission. So we're asking for the request to have an exception to the medium site plan with the detailed complete survey from Mitchell & Associates for the new structure.
Does anybody have any questions?
What's the square footage of the current structure?
106,
And what do you want to go to?
198.
198?
Is there already a pad that you're going to use and add to, or are you doing a whole new pad?
Well, there's currently footings in place. I don't know how substantial they are because they're so old, so the new structure would have a new footing design that would support new building codes to today.
I noticed it on the site plans. Yeah, your pictures certainly describe the current state of the other structure.
Yeah, Joey, the mom, who's been there forever, takes care of it, and it's kind of been neglected, and it's,
You intend to meet all the other requirements permitting wise for the soil and erosion and all of that might be required to do
Yeah.
that?
and the current structure, we would hold to the current setback where two of the corners are going to stay as is. We're just going to ask to go to the north, so we wouldn't be impeding in the lakefront any more than it already does.
Alicia, why is this coming to the planning commission and not the zoning board of appeals?
Because the planning commission has authorization to approve a small structure according to Article 4.26. It spells
Okay.
out the planning commission.
Looks like some of the deck you're reducing or removing, is that right? To the north?
Yeah, the current deck outside the structure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious, do any of your neighbors close to you have something similar down by the water's edge?
I can't honestly say that because I don't live there, but in my travels on the lake, I know there's other structures that are similar. I don't know if they're actually neighbors to that property.
Okay, I was just curious whether there were two or three right next to you.
I honestly do not know.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's several down along that stretch, down over that bank.
So you're looking at an increase in the square footage for the building, but a reduction in the deck space?
The deck space is currently going to stay as is. The building sets back behind the deck, so there's going to be a little bit of reduction because the building's going to take over the deck space to the north. There's deck in front of it. And I mean, currently too, they have different times of the year, depending on what it is, but stuff is stored outside because of the hexagonal shape. Stuff can't all fit in there. So that would alleviate some miscellaneous items that are outside as well. The intent would be to put kayaks and stuff in there, and they just don't fit in there with that structure.
Anybody else have any other questions?
So it looks like the proposed deck, what, an extra foot or two towards the water, but that's pretty much it on this site plan. Is that-
Nothing should change as far as the current setback to the water. Everything will hold true. We're just essentially taking the structure to the north.
Rebuilding and the size that's there, only part of it will be just a big building, but the deck size won't change.
If we could go back, we would, but with the bluff there, then you're getting into adding retaining wall and support structure to hold the bluff back.
What do you think, zoning man? I said, what do you think, zoning man?
Well, I like that the building, is going to fit in that current deck size that's there. I mean, you're really not gaining a whole lot. And I mean, it's not impeding on the water setback, which is good.
I I consider it to be more of a rebuilding of
Yeah,
something that's been in existence for a long
Right.
time.
yeah, I have to agree with you there.
And it didn't take up too much more than was already there.
Anybody else have any questions?
And they're actually before the board, getting it approved instead of just building it.
Anybody have any discussion, motions, anything?
I had nothing.
We're going to move that we approve the request as presented. Given
With-
that it's almost using the same edge of the building that's currently in existence, and they're removing some of the deck. And the reason for this rule is because in instances where there are bluffs, that people don't have to carry all their stuff up and down the steep bluff to every season and every day, sort of thing.
That's your motion?
Well, that's my explanation.
Explanation.
It's good, starts a lot.
I think your motion would have to include the exception.
Oh, yeah.
to the medium.
Yeah, now I'm the one forgetting.
Oh, I was so waiting for that.
Sorry. You want to restate that quickly, just so that she can get that up?
Oh, I move that we approve the request as presented and that we excuse the requirement for medium site plan.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Pat, second by Clint. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion approved.
Appreciate your time.
All right, moving on to other business, lighting standards. So last month we had some folks come in and they had some concerns about, and questions about lighting. And we did at that time give some ideas on it about nuisance control and things like that. And did ask Alicia to provide us with the standards that we currently have in our ordinance for lighting. Currently, our standards do not include anything required in the residential end of lighting, and everything is pretty much stuck to commercial. In my own reading of it, I don't really think that we as a township want to try to go down the road of controlling residential lighting. And I was going to ask, and I didn't get the chance to look back at it, but in the nuisance, I know we were going through that nuisance zone ordinance. What's that? I know it's a different ordinance, but my only other thought about lighting is if it was becoming a nuisance by causing problems with off-site, lighting coming off-site, and could potentially cause a traffic problem to oncoming cars or, other things like that. I don't know. It's just a thought. That was my only thought about, controlling these lighting. So, I don't know what you guys think. Getting around that, but
Have you heard any more from them?
Can we put this one off?
what's that?
Can we put this off?
Can we?
I'm asking you.
We can. I mean, we have a reason for it.
No, I mean, it's like you you were saying, that's the only issue we've had before, so.
It's just something, it's just a thought to have a discussion on if you see anything that we think we should change in our ordinance, of course, come to light, but I don't know if anybody has even broached that subject.
Well, we could remove we could remove B, but then it's a big step, because then it wouldn't apply retroactively, but the new construction would have to shield their lights and keep their light on their own property, sort of thing. I don't know if it would affect replacement or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
We've only had one complaint of lighting, and that was at the last meeting, and that was interesting, the way that was being done, so I don't know that we should change anything just because of that incident, which could easily be more handled by the sheriff's department than Green Lake Township.
I was planning on bringing the issue up. We're supposed to be meeting on the nuisance ordinance next week. But it's plan on polling the township board to see what their thoughts were on the issue.
I think the only other lighting thing we had was at Long Lake Marina, when they built that first pole barn. People were concerned, but turned out to be nothing.
Well, and that's a situation where that's commercial, and we have the ability to have a conversation about it. Try to direct that sort of thing. Really what we're talking about now is residential lighting. That is a much bigger can of worms, given that there's so much residential already in existence here. Yeah, retroactive would be tough.
I'd like to wait and see what comes out of the nuisance ordinance.
So put it off.
This is other business, doesn't mean we have to act on it, it means we can just have this right now as a discussion stage, so. I don't think we want to have to make a motion to even put it off, we're just talking about it, so.
Yeah. We asked for it, she provided it, and
If anybody else doesn't have any other questions, I just hold tight on it to see what happens, like you said, after the board and nuisance ordinance. All right. Anybody else have any other comment to that? Okay. Move on to the master plan draft discussion. And subsequent schedule for the public hearing. Everybody had a chance to peruse the redone version, come up with comment or questions?
It's a lot cleaner.
I totally agree with that. I like the effort that was put forth to clean up the wording, take care of the punctuation, get some proper formatting on the grammar, and I like the change of the charts to the same format. It makes them much easier to read. I myself feel like it's a much cleaner version and one that is worthy of being presented to the board, township board.
much better than the last time we looked at it.
Yes, I agree.
Times.
What's that?
Times.
Yeah. Anybody else, have any thoughts? Brad, do you have any thoughts? Did you get a chance to look at them?
Yeah, no. I think it looks a lot better, yeah.
Do you have any thoughts, Pat?
Well, I think we gotta set a public hearing next month for it,
Yep.
if we're ready.
Bill? saw in there?
No, I think all the changes that we've mentioned have been made.
Somebody like to make a motion to put it out for a public hearing?
So moved.
Support.
Yeah, we would have to,
March
so,
26th.
March 26th is the next,
What's the date, 26th?
yeah. So Pat, please include that with your motion.
March 26th at 6 o'clock.
We have a motion to put the master plan out for our public hearing, March 26th at 6 PM. Do we have a second for that motion?
I already,
Seconded by Rick. Do you have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Moving on to the liaison report from the Board of Appeals.
No report, we haven't had a meeting, so.
Meeting had, so no reports. At this point, we'll move on to second public comment. Anybody like to make a comment at this time? Okay. Discussion. Anybody have any topics, thoughts?
I think it's nice we're making headway on the master plan.
Yes, sir, I'll take your comment or question, but yeah, you should do that in the public comment section, but
I missed my,
it's okay, go ahead.
I was just wondering about the.
Would you? Okay. Yeah, that way you can get it on record.
Okay. I was just wondering about the lighting issue.
Name and-
If,
Gotta get your name and address, sorry.
Joseph Truliroa, 11870 Cedar Run Road, Traverse City, Michigan.
All right, go ahead.
I was just wondering about the lighting issue, if the person that was bothered about the lighting, if they made an attempt to go to the neighbor and plead their case, which would be the normal course of action, maybe they did that and it didn't provide any results, and that's why they had to come to the township for that. But usually, between neighbors,
They did, and they tried multiple times to resolve the issue with
Yeah.
the question, and got nowhere with it, and the person did not want to
Yeah.
participate in the communication department, so they
Yeah.
came forward and had asked us if there was something that we could do, pointing out our lighting ordinance that we have in the township. Only our lighting ordinance just refers to commercial business only, because residential would be almost an impossible
Sure.
chore. So we, at that time, said that we would request and look at that lighting just to see if maybe there wasn't something we could see in it, but had recommended to the people that they actually tried to engage with the sheriff's department as it was being a nuisance. And so that's how we came to that.
I see. Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any?
Yeah, I do. So the master planning, I had emailed Alicia a while ago, but it was about how do you designate, first it was going to be east-west, then north-south, interlocking the community. And I was driving through Midland this past weekend on M20, and I don't know if anybody's seen what they've done, but it's really beautiful, very simple, and, welcome to Midland, some small rock structure, a little garden area, thing like that, but I gotta believe there would be a lot of people that would allow that to go in on their property or something like that to help out, or just, it really, as you're going down M20, and it's a pretty busy area, but it was very, very nice to look, even this past weekend on a Saturday, and nothing was green or anything, but it was still really, really nice and simple, and I think that's something we should do, in both directions when you come through, interlocking to hit the 4 main areas.
That might be something to ask the EPA to consider.
I'm all for actually something that would designate our town or this area. I think it'd be great. I think the one thing we probably do need to do in that whole deal is let them fix the highway and try to make that look nice.
I know that sign in front of the hotel now next to the bait place, have you seen that one? That's nice. They did a nice job on that.
Well, I know where there's some real estate. There's this big open golf course place down there.
Actually, I would be very willing to do that on the corner of Gonder and 31 there. I mean, that would be, because I've been driving through, out by the Field of Dreams, something out there. I mean, just something really nice, nice looking, but not anything crazy expensive, but just to know you're coming into Interlochen proper,
We need some branding.
Yeah, we do. Because right now, we don't. It's just kind of Interlochen. I mean, Colleen, my wife, tells me all the time, people ask me, oh, where are you from? Traverse City. She goes, no, you're not, you're from Interlochen. And I'm like, yeah, I'm from Interlochen, okay.
That's a good point. It would be a good branding tool for the
Yeah.
area.
So are we getting a roundabout, or what are we getting, do we know? We still don't know? Well, we get a roundabout, I want a cannon, put in the middle of it.
And a tank.
Or a tank. Yeah, I like that.
I believe at this point, the roundabout is still a negotiated situation, so.
Yeah, I was curious why West Silver Lake, they put that left turn lane in there. Yeah,
I like that turn lane.
at 633.
I like that turn
They
lane.
I
wanna,
bet you do.
I do like that turn lane, that's stopped a lot of wrecks, I mean, it's really changed that light.
Yeah, sure
Yeah.
has.
and I think that would be cheaper and be easier to manage.
That's what I would think.
Well, in talking with the state, they had reiterated that the reason they like roundabouts is they may not be pleasant for people to go through traffic-wise, but they have had in the past, I don't remember what he said, in the past 10 years or so that they've had roundabouts out there, they have 0 fatalities in a roundabout. They haven't had accidents, but 0 fatalities in one, so financially, insurance, and all of the costs that are involved with those, they are by far the lower cost traffic controller to have and the safest to have, but they also take up some real estate. Yes, sir?
As of 3 weeks ago, when they were out at my place, they were pretty certain it was going in, they've got the money, and they're negotiating with the General on the point.
And that's where it's at right now, it's just sitting with negotiations. If they can't come up with the real estate to put it in, then it's not going to be viable, so. Interlochen, this entire highway has different right-of-way setbacks all the way down, 50 feet, 100 feet, 75 feet, it just goes back and forth all the way down. So that happens to be one of the places where they don't have a lot of real estate.
They're putting one in at Boomers.
Are there?
Yep.
Great, good spot for one.
Roundabout at Boomers.
Bad. I like them on three-way intersections because three-ways are really much easier to control type of roundabout. Four-way, I just think if you're going to do a four-way, it has to be a fairly large roundabout so that people can actually get into it before they decide where they're going.
Well, if they do it, it will automatically slow the traffic down.
I don't know.
And after somebody put that 55-mile-an-hour sign right there by Wendy's.
Oh,
Yeah. Just like, if you're through the light, keep going.
yeah. That would be the state. I would love to actually have some branding and that in some further discussion, so let's not drop that topic unless you want to formally put something forth to discuss, but
No, I just think the general discussion is good.
whatever, forget about it. Because that's a great idea.
I'll bring it up with the DDA. You know, that's, we may want to go a little bit outside of their boundaries, but I think they'd be happy to pitch in and get involved.
Yeah, certainly a topic worth pursuing. Anybody else have anything they'd like to discuss? Okay, somebody like to make a motion on adjournment?
I like motion.
So to adjourn at
To adjourn.
6:45? Second by Rick. Second by Rick, all in favor?
Aye.
So long as the adjournment is taken.
I can make.
Look at that.
Hey, Joey, I
Same exact thing you got.
Wow. I know, they rule those